All right, what's going on, y'all? Welcome to the Fans Union for the fans by the fans. Got my two lovely co-hosts here with me, Logan Graham. What's going on, fellas?
What it do?
What up, fans? What up, brothers?
Hey, man, we're in clinch. We're I said in clinching. That's not even a word. Uh, we are approaching one of the best weekends, and maybe in sports, but for certain in college sports, and rivalry weekend. Um, I just love the 1 week where in this playoff or bust, championship or bust era for so many teams, whether those are proper expectations for some teams or not, that this week is just all about, hey, we hate the guys across from us. Let's get a win. So I personally am really excited to see that. Um, Before we hit that, by the way, we're gonna hit the new rankings too. I'm not sure a ton changes, but I do like to at least stay up on that. And it's been delayed on ESPN because of a basketball game running late. But that's neither here nor there. So, um, yeah, we'll go kick it off with the USC Trojans at Oregon. I was actually watching this. I was at the South Carolina game, had my phone next to me, and was able to stay on top of both games really well. It was pretty nice, especially South Carolina finally A, won a game, and B, gave me something not to really have to sweat over reporting for the first time in a few weeks. Um, they had almost 600 yards of offense, which is
Shit. Hey, you might as well go ahead and give everybody the rundown on them while you at it, man. Strike it while the iron is hot.
I mean, they played Coastal Carolina, which really good team in their conference. They'd scored like 40 points 4 weeks in a row. Um, but I mean, they ran the ball really well. I mean, they had like 250 some odd yards of rushing offense and lots of big plays. I mean, um, I think they scored. Lenore Sellers scored 2 touchdowns on the ground, threw 2 screens for touchdowns. Just a lot going good there, but it was fun. I'll tell you what, man. I texted Graham this over the weekend. Um, I really see why people are so bought in. Like Shane Beamer is a very likable guy. His players love him, and getting to interact with him on a kind of a week in week out basis, I really see why. So, no, it was a good weekend. Not a bad drive there. Not a bad drive back. Stopped at a little local sports bar up there, and I got there because the game didn't start till 4, but I didn't want to sit into a ton of traffic, so I got there around like noon. Um, I went to a nice little local sports bar. I knew it was the right place because it had pool tables in there, and you couldn't smoke inside. No, but there were regulars getting there at noon at the bar, and when they sat down, the waitress didn't even have to ask them what they wanted to drink. She just brought it to them. I was like, you know what? I'm in the right place.
Uh,
And it wasn't even like I wasn't even going there to drink or anything. I just sat at the bar to have an easy place because that's where the servers were at. But it was pretty cool to see. So getting to
Hey, I mean,
explore Columbia a
sometimes
little
you
bit.
gotta go where everybody knows your name.
And they're all glad you came. What a terrific show. Um, but I don't think anybody's here to see us be Norm from Cheers. Here to see us talk a little bit about USC and Oregon. So this was kind of the one of the bigger ranked matchups of the week was College Game Day. Number 15 USC at 7 Oregon. USC really swinging at first. It looked like they were kind of gonna not run away, but be able to really make something happen, and they just shot themselves in the foot so bad. I mean, I don't know, I'm gonna get this pulled up, but there was a drive that was prolonged by penalties, and it felt like it went on for. Let me see if I can get it pulled up. Um, yeah, Oregon has the ball and is driving. They get a stop on 4th down. They USC kicks a field goal, but excuse me, Oregon kicks a field goal, misses it, but it's called leaping, which I have not seen called in forever, where you jump over the snapper, delays it. They get another stop. Two more. I think they get two penalties in the first round, or two pass interferences in the 10 inside the 10-yard line, and from there it just really got bad. USC making a lot of plays. I mean, I was really impressed by some of the throws and just a toss and catch by the receivers. I always mispronounce his name. Mayava and Makai Lemon making a lot of huge plays. Hines as well. I think Hines is the one with he had a touchdown. That crazy snag.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
man, there's a lot of talent on this USC team, but God, I'm not Lincoln Riley, man. I'm just not bought in that any of his teams having the mental toughness or being prepared, anything like that.
Yeah, I think Lincoln, while we're touching on him, pause. While we addressing Lincoln, if you will, he kind of runs into that same issue that you run into with Sark over in Texas, and it's that there's nothing wrong with his floor. As a matter of fact, his floor is what distinguishes him from a lot of other coaches. It's the fact that you hire them because of their ceilings, and they kind of always come with an asterisk or a to be continued. You're still waiting for Lincoln to replicate what he was able to do in Norman. I mean, let's just be honest. Like, has he ever hit a height that high since then?
No, not even close.
He's still chasing that ghost himself. So without a doubt, everybody who was big on the anticipation of his hire and appointment are chasing him as well. Everybody's still waiting for him to do with Jaden or whoever it may be. And I guess Caleb to an extent is what that was supposed to be, but he showed us what the prototype looked like in that sense. But let's, obviously we got to stay on this game. Makai Lemon and the usual suspects balled out. Makai, showed us enough to keep himself in Biletnikoff consideration and things of that nature. Like you said, they definitely threw a lot of their heavy swings in the first half. But I do think that Dan Lanning and this Oregon team are going to be kind of similar to Ohio State in the sense of, yeah, we haven't played many, good teams up to this point, but I've been able to keep this loaded ass roster healthy for this long. And I've also been able to keep my big bag of tricks really full because I haven't been able to play anybody. So I think those things will work in their favor until they really, face a real big dog. I don't want to be mean and call USC a pretender, but I don't think any of us were anticipating in the beginning of the season or now for them to really be competing with Oregon when they get, to them deep waters like that. So in that sense, I guess the game was predictable in its outcome, but like you said, still plenty of fireworks.
Yeah, it was weird too because it was like they had the Arkansas-Texas game kind of felt like that in a way. Texas or Arkansas started swinging early, but God, it's you remember the McGregor-Mayweather fight where McGregor the first few rounds is just swinging nonstop. You're thinking, oh man, this is kind of looking like he could be in this. But then come that fifth round, the fatigue starts wearing in, and then you got the prize fighter who is really, showing his veteran savvy in that. That's kind of how I feel about this Oregon team is how prepared they are by Lanning. Obviously a fantastic coach, did great things here at Georgia. But that's a team that's going to be ready for your swings, and you better be ready once they, absorb those blows. You better be ready to punch back. USC was not ready to punch back, and I think that's kind of what ended up leading to the result we had.
100%. That's a good way to put it.
Well, you got anything you want to add to that, bub?
I told myself I was going to watch this game. I did not watch a single play. But the one thing that did kind of stick out to me when I was looking at the box score of this one is it looks like there was a ton of penalties. There's 19 penalties for 233 yards between both schools. That's a lot of yellow hankies on the field.
Let me read you this drive real quick.
I like that. Hey, I like that, Logan. They got the hankies out tonight, man. Hanky pankies.
All right, so here, I'm going to read you this, Logan. This is one drive. 17-yard run from Oregon. Unsportsmanlike conduct. Draws it back. That's one. All right. And then a few snaps later, Oregon picks up 30 yards on a what was it? 30-yard pass play. Unsportsmanlike conduct on Oregon. And then let's see. 15-yard where is it? What kind of face mask? 3 plays later. I was watching this and I was like, I have to talk about this. All right. 2 snaps later. False start. Another snap. Is this the one? Yeah. And then another, it doesn't account for the missed field goal on there. And then you have a pass interference inside the a false start inside the 1-2. So I mean, that's one drive, 6 penalties. It was a sloppy game for sure. It was that one drive. I'm telling you, it felt like it took 20 minutes.
Yeah, I mean that's the main thing that really stuck out to me is, like I said, I didn't tune in at all. I couldn't really tell you what was going on in this game, but I just peeped at the box score as you guys were talking about it, and I'm like, dang, there's a lot of penalties. Because I mean, USC's got 8 for 103, and then Oregon had 11 for 130. So that's pretty alarming for both teams, to be honest.
We'll look up something here while we're waiting, because I mean, there was one penalty that was super dumb. Like after Oregon scored a touchdown, the guy was maybe it was a pick six. That's what it was. It was a pick six. USC threw one. Oregon scores. The receiver runs over to the DB who ran it back, jumps in the middle of their whole squad while he's celebrating, and tries to steal the ball back from him, like the mid play. And Lincoln Riley's looking at him like, dude, what are you doing? Like it was pretty brutal in terms of penalties. I want to look up something real quick and see.
And hey, I know it wasn't the same in exact nature, but that shit just reminded me of that goofy ass penalty that Ellis Robinson committed, I think, against Tennessee.
No, against Alabama.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Put that shit in the lower.
That one was, and that one was unfortunately the kind of the death blow. It didn't objectively make a huge difference on the game, but that one was pretty brutal to watch. USC has the 75th or 74th fewest passing yards. So whatever reverse math you want to do there, or penalty yards. So it's kind of something they've grown accustomed to. But I think Oregon is, just weeks away. Does anybody have no? Are they clinched for the Big Ten? I probably shouldn't.
No, it would be Ohio State and Indiana still.
Indiana, duh, because Indiana beat. Okay, right. Okay.
Which I think works out for the betterment of the landscape in the long run. But I'm sure we'll talk about that a lot later.
Do want to highlight over something real quick. I didn't get to watch a ton of it either, but Oklahoma, the most Oklahoma victory ever over Missouri. Ugly offense, suffocating defense. I don't know how sustainable that's going to be going forward, right? But man, that defense is probably the best there is in the sport. It's unreal. Defensive. I've said it before on the show. Brett Venables may be the best defensive mind in college football.
I was just about to say, like, the most impressive thing is Oklahoma coming into the SEC, and last year not as much, but this year definitely their defense still pretty dominant in the SEC. Is very impressed. I'm impressed with Venables over there, Oklahoma offense. They got to figure that out. Maybe I think Mateer getting hurt and not really bouncing back is really took the steam out of the offense. But that defense is nice.
Yeah. That defense is ferocious. I'm pretty sure they lead the country in sacks. Of course, none of those came against Auburn. But I think it's tough, especially in the SEC. Like if something crazy were to happen, they would go to the SEC championship. It would be really interesting to see how that poor of offense, but that elite of defense, how it would end up going, because I just don't know if that's sustainable. Speaking of, before we get to rivalry week, I guess kind of the loss with the most implications from this week was now newly unranked Pitt after they got bloodbath to death by Notre Dame.
They're ranked again.
Are they?
Yep.
Well, at the time, they were formerly ranked.
Yeah, no, I was just throwing that. Yeah, they were not ranked, but now they're back up to 22. I sent it in the chat.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I see it now.
Yeah.
Well, they were unranked, headed to play number 16, Georgia Tech, and go up 28-0 in the first half. And you're thinking, oh, everything's good. And I'm just listening to it on the way home from Columbia. And I'm like, when I realized that, or was listening and I saw that, they went up 27, and it's 28-14. I'm like, God, this Georgia Tech team, they've come back several times this year. But ultimately, kind of the dagger for this game, Haynes King playing his worst game of the year and throwing a pick on the 1 yard line that turns into a pick six, ultimately ends up icing the game. And then Pitt scores a rushing touchdown late in the game, and that ends up being what does it. This Georgia Tech team, I think Haynes King is fantastic. I think this is a great offense. And he's a magic man when him and Buster Faulkner are together. But this defense is the reason that they're not going to be a playoff team this year. Logan had talked about it, and right, wrong, or indifferent, you definitely could make an argument that they were underranked. They were, float around that 15, 16 area after the loss to NC State. And this loss, it brings them down, I believe it was to, let me get it pulled up. They're 23 in the college football playoff ranking. So for them at this point, it's conference championship or bust for them to make the playoffs. And that game, if they would have won, if they would have beat Pitt, they would have ended up winning that or clinching their spot in the ACC championship. Before I get off my rap, I just want to read this real quick. I was reading this in The Athletic. It says Georgia Tech would have clinched a spot in the ACC championship if it had won. Now, entering the final week, nobody is insured a bid, and 6 teams are still technically alive, including the Yellow Jackets, though it's a long shot. Ultimately, looks like it's going to most likely be Virginia and SMU. If they win their games this week, they're both in. And the idea of one of those 2 teams being in the college football playoff is disgusting to me. But I digress. So, yeah, they had their chance to, really push it in. Even if they had a loss to Georgia, you win that, you still get in the playoff. But, yeah, this Tech team, this defense is just ultimately it's Achilles heel. If you guys want to go ahead and go on that, I want to pull up a stat or some stats about their defense I was looking at the other day.
You're talking about the ACC championship, if it's SMU and Virginia. Like, I mean, I know they're not going to do it because it's going to cause too much drama, but like, how crazy would it be for the ACC championship winner not to make the playoffs, but then Miami like slither in or something? Like, oh my God, the drama that would cause. But Miami has better wins than both of them schools. So it's like, but then again, you got SMU with a win over Miami. So it's
right.
Like, it gets dicey, but it's kind of weird to sit there and look and be like, dang, Miami's probably the best team in the ACC, but they're probably not going to make it. Because, I mean, I think they got the most talent. Maybe not the best team, but they got the most talent as far as playmakers and stuff. I don't know. It's kind of crazy for me to think that Miami's on the outside looking in. And Tech, I know we're going to dive into the rankings later, but it's kind of crazy to see Tech is 9-2 in the ACC and ranked 23rd. I still feel like they're getting disrespected in the rankings somehow. I don't know. 9-2 and that far down is insane to me, especially in the ACC.
It's that strength of schedule. It
just goes to show how bad the ACC really is.
They're like 84th, 85th in strength of schedule right now.
But Tulane is one behind them, bro. Tulane.
Oh, no. Saying it out loud sounds crazy, but I think that plays into it. Georgia Tech gives up the 28th most yards in the country right now. I'm going to look up their points here in a second. But certainly, if you can't, and I'll talk about this a little more when we get to Georgia. If you can't play defense, you're not going to beat Georgia, especially, a team who has found their identity to run the ball. And I'm not going to make this about Georgia right now, but that's obviously Tech's next opponent. And unfortunately, this loss, it kind of, again, it's ACC or bust for them, ACC championship or bust. But yeah, I think Graham, did you pick Tech to win?
I picked Tech to get knocked off. Actually, I'm on record last week saying that Tech has been playing with their food all season. And there we have it. That's all she wrote. Like you just mentioned, I'm not going to let this, segue me into my pick for the rivalry, week game coming up against our dogs and whatnot. But I will say, as much as we like to blame the defense of this Tech team for their shortcomings, I think this team as a whole is just really tone deaf throughout games. I've watched them on three occasions now. And it just always seems like to me they play like a team. You know how sometimes you'll befan a team from the East Coast and they just have a really poor West Coast away game outing. It's like a Thursday night game in Denver. Like sometimes you just got to chalk shit up to like being in a short week, maybe not being able to be as prepared as you usually are. Tech has given me that vibe multiple times this year, even when they were, humming, if you will. It's not me being a hater at all. Like I said, I've felt like that they've been playing with their food for weeks, and it's only a matter of time until the football guys get right with you for a penalty as harsh as that. So can't be doing that this late in the season, especially with a team like Pitt, who let's not forget, as much as we're talking about the ACC and them underperforming as a conference this year, Pitt was right in this equation just 2 weeks ago. They were actually in first, I think, something crazy like that. So with this conference being a revolving door the way that it is, you at least have to behave on the road when you're not playing at full cylinder. And I think Tech has a terrible, habit of kind of making a mess of themselves throughout games. So I know
yeah, and they played a really good second half too. I mean, defensively, Georgia Tech did. Funny enough as it is, at one point in the fourth quarter, I think it was mid to late fourth quarter, Pitt had until that rushing touchdown they got, they had 17 yards, 14 to 17 yards of total offense.
The
But when
reality
you go
is
down
Pitt ran the
28-0,
ball terribly before this game, Joey. And I think Pitt had their best rushing performance against Tech this weekend. When you let teams categorically, I guess, correct their problems and their mistakes against you, you almost begging to get knocked off at a certain point. You can get away with that after a while, but like I said, this late in the season, everybody's playing for bowl contention, playoff contention, extensions on the line for coaches. So yeah, maybe looking ahead, trying to look a week ahead, 2 weeks ahead, maybe even.
I mean, that's one of the things you talked about was them maybe looking ahead, and I said for that reason, that not looking ahead may have done it. But here we are. I think his name's Ja'Carrion Turner, the running back for Pitt, had 200 yards. Boy, it's a great time to be Nate Frazier or Chauncey Bowens. I'll tell you that.
Shoot, Bo, strap him up, baby.
Yeah.
We might need you to roll about 20
One
times this
thing-
weekend too.
One thing about this game was it really felt like Tech was about to come back and win because it was sometime in the third quarter, I want to say, towards the end of the third quarter. Tech was driving downfield, down 2 scores, and then Haynes King throws the 100-yard pick six, and after that, it was that was the most deflating thing. Once he threw that 100-yard pick six, dude, it was a wrap. That was over at that point. But to me, it was just insane because them marching downfield on that drive, because I was able to watch a little bit of this game. Them marching down the field on that drive, I'm like, oh yeah, Tech's about to score. They had all momentum, like you're saying. Their defense was stepping up, and then that 100-yard pick six, dude. It's they sucked the life out of that stadium, dude. It was insane. It was such a big shift in momentum after that point, honestly. Which I mean, Tech still went down and scored a couple times, I think, after that, but that 100-yard pick six really sealed the deal.
Yeah, after that, they're all, while they were still making big plays, all their momentum was gone after that one.
Yeah.
So Tech, I mean, I think, let me see if I get this thing pulled back up because it was saying everything that had to go right.
Logan, this just dropped, bro. You just dropped the new ones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
Logan just.
Hey, but talking about big plays, I just want to talk about how crazy it was that Notre Dame this weekend was up 21 before their offense touched the field.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that one was horrible.
Talk about a statement game.
Yeah, I actually had came to terms with myself that I was going to admit to the pod this week that Notre Dame is not a pretender anymore in my eyes, man. They we got to put some respect on them boys' name. I think that Georgia and Notre Dame, real quick, that potential rematch might be the craziest potential matchup in this playoff coming up because I think both teams are poised to smack some ass, and so it would give that gladiator versus gladiator type feel, in my opinion.
Hey, I will say this too. You kept my friend Brown a lot in these higher up coaching positions. he might be interviewing for like USF once that coach goes somewhere. Honestly,
Hey
he
man,
might
I'm
have
still gonna
he
give
might
my
get a
boy
downgrade.
the benefit of the doubt for losing his QB1 so early. You know, he's still young and being a head coach. He is in, you know, kind of a recruiting dead spot. The fact that he was able to pull in a recruiting class the way that he did this year, we do got to give him grace. Let's see what he can do with these recruits, especially this 5-star that he snagged this year, you know, and with a good quarterback that he can hopefully keep healthy. But I am gonna take my licks, man. I know that I was gassing him up crazy. I still got faith. I'm not off the bandwagon, but I gotta take my L, you know, when it comes my way. They got boat race this weekend, man. They got the doors beat off
Yeah,
their ass.
Yeah, that's about
that
as
was,
bad as the game can get.
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, that's an anomaly right there.
That's one
But
of them soul searchers right there, man.
That's a perfect way to
Yeah.
phrase it.
Hey, and God willing, if she's still around, you calling Granny the next day after one of them, man. You gotta talk to Granny a little bit, figure shit out. And that's word to you, coach, for real. You know I love you, bro. For real. You're gonna be a dog for life always to me, man. But you know, you gotta holler at your loved ones. You gotta holler at an OG or something after an ass whooping like that, man.
Love one is crazy.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. You know, that's not part of the program, coach. Holler at me on the Patreon. You already know what's going on, man. But I know we gotta push and shit.
No, you're good, man. We're actually really good on time. All right, so talk a little bit about these playoff rankings before we jump into
can we
rivalry
talk
week.
about one game? We 2 minutes is all I want to talk about.
All right, the floor is yours.
So
ISO
Graham
and
backed
Logan.
me up after I said this, so it's a dub for me and Graham. I called last week. Arch Manning's going to have a hell of a game against Arkansas, and boy
We
did he.
did.
Boy did. As soon as I said it, Graham was like, "I agree." Boy did he have a game. Arch Manning threw for 389, 4 tuds, no picks. He threw for 389 on 18 completions. So, I mean, he was doing it pretty efficiently too. So, yeah, I mean, I just want to throw that out there. I said that with Ole Miss's success, Chambliss showing out against Arkansas, I felt like this is a perfect game for Arch Manning to come out and have a big one. So, Arch Manning slowly having some big games against SEC opponents. It'll be interesting next year to see if he's able to step that up into some top 25 matchups and things of that nature. But don't want to spend too much time. But Arch Manning had a hell of a day. We kept dogging him for only having good games against UL Monroe's and those likes. So he is starting to have some good games against SEC opponents, which is big. But we got to see if it translates to big-time SEC opponents next year.
Well, they'll have the chance this weekend, which is something we're going to talk about.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough.
So, all right. Well, just going to hit these playoff rankings a little bit. Not a ton of change. I think it's interesting. BYU is 10-1, losing. Their only loss is to a top 10 team who has the same record, or top 5 team, excuse me, who has the same record in them. They could be left out of the playoffs again after being pretty close last year. So I'm really interested to see how that goes. Anything for you guys that kind of jumps off the charts looking at it?
Ooh,
Graham, you raise your hand. You go first.
Hey, this top 6 only got 2 SEC teams in it now, man. It's some things changing cosmetically about these rankings a little bit that's catching my eye, and that's all I'm gonna say on that note. Ole Miss, honestly, we need Ole Miss to beat the brakes off of Mississippi State this weekend. To be honest with you, for just as a conference, for us to be going into ranking weekend, final ranking weekend in the best position, we need Ole Miss and we need Oklahoma to handle business, honestly, because we know Texas is on the outside looking in. Oklahoma is really giving us the best shot of having 4 teams in, I think, or not 4 teams in, but keeping as many teams in the top 10 as possible. Like, because I think them 11 and 12 spots, you really can't even count those as like you holding that spot, because that goes to that G5 school, doesn't it? Number 12, right?
Well, I think at this point it's is it Tulane? I looked at it the other day. I saw potentially like North Texas might be in it.
Yeah.
It's
North
pretty
Texas's
crazy.
coach just left. North
That's
Texas's
crazy.
coach just signed to damn, who was it?
Did he go to Oklahoma State?
Yeah, Oklahoma State, yeah. But he's gonna finish the
Hey, I
season,
like,
but
I
yeah,
like
he's
that for
gonna
the
rest
Cowboys,
at the end of the year.
So Logan, that
Yeah, he's
makes
been
me want to
solid.
ask you this. I know we've talked about, and I don't want to turn this into more than what I'm asking right here, because we'll have a lot of time to really dive into it next week. We've talked about it a lot here. There's been a lot of speculation that, Kevin were to leave, Ole Miss sitting there at 11-1, top 7 team. Does an 11-1 team losing Lane Kiffin, would you want Ole Miss to be a playoff team without him? Like I'm saying, I
I'm
know
about
it
to hit
sounds
you with the
crazy, right?
Russell Westbrook. What? Bro, what are you talking about? What are you talking about, bro?
No, look. I'm saying, for me, I'm with you. I want because I saw a lot of people talking about it on the internet. Me, I want my team to be in it no matter what. But let's just say, for the sake of conversation here, Ole Miss falls to or doesn't fall inside that playoff category because Lane Kiffin leaves. So you're going to be pissed about that.
Stop right there. We're not doing this, Joey. You're better than this. You're better
What?
than this.
I think
11
that's
and 1 Ole Miss gets in regardless, bro. You're better than this. Don't do this,
no.
Joey.
This isn't my narrative. This isn't
Don't.
my narrative. This is something I've seen a lot. I think they
It's
should.
a terrible narrative. That's what I'm saying. It's a 11 and 1. Any SEC team 11 and 1 is in, bro. I don't give a don't.
I'm right
buy
there
into
with
the propaganda, bro.
I'm right there with
We're
you.
not doing
I
that.
just I just wanted to
entertaining
know
that.
more so how like a fan of that situation would feel. Because me, I still want to be in, right?
If I can
But,
jump in
Bro, if
and
I'm
provide
11 and 1 and I'm not making the playoffs, I'm about to rush the Capitol like it's January, whatever it was, January 6th or whatever. We're gonna be on some bullshit, bro.
I hear
11 and
again,
1, 11 and 1 and not making playoffs. These people are smoking crack. Fucking
you can't
smoking
compare it, and you
crack.
can't compare it to the Florida State situation from 2023 either,
No.
because it's not like there's an actual player on the team who makes plays and you know does things that actually causes the results of games. Like, get what everyone is saying about the potential of a team not playing anywhere to their, to the potential that they need to play in the playoffs if they don't got their head coach and whatnot. But it's not the same as losing Jordan Travis, bro.
for
We
sure.
still gotta give we have to
100%
give
agree.
Ole Miss the benefit of the doubt and let one of them assistant coaches coach them boys through to either a dub or a loss. But either way, we got to get we still owe Ole Miss the opportunity to prove us whether they can do it with a new coach or an assistant coach, interim coach or not. It ain't the
1000%
same as
right.
playing without Trinidad. You know what I'm saying? Now, if Trinidad broke his leg that same night, God forbid, that'd be a whole nother conversation.
I don't think it would. Austin Simmons would jump in. People are still on that.
I feel you. I feel you.
People still every week announce that Trinidad Chambliss is the starter. I'm like, yeah, shit.
Look. I don't want to turn this into like a super in-depth discussion about this. I just saw a lot of people perpetuating. I'm talking about pundits saying that. I personally don't agree, so I just was interested to hear your take on that.
It's clickbait.
I think
don't fall for the propaganda.
I'm not. I'm just asking.
Hey, I'll say this too. I'll say this. Let's say we beat State, and then Saturday Lane Kiffin's like, "Hey boys, catch me in the bayou. I'm going to LSU. See you, bye." Who says he doesn't finish the season?
Well, I think that from what I understand, that's what the administration is saying. Is because at that point you can't it's again, we've talked about this ad nauseum, I feel like, but it's the calendar so unfair that they have no choice. Nick Saban brought up a really good point. I don't know how realistic it is getting it aligned, but he was basically saying that the recruiting transfer portal calendar should not be aligned with the academic calendars of the schools, because that's what it is. It's a lot of these schools, like the portal runs from January 2nd to the 16th, I believe is what I was just reading. And the 16th, that area, that's when schools drop ad period starts for getting in classes. That's why they have to do it that way. So it's not necessarily a thing of, hey, we don't want you to be here. It's, hey, dude, we got to get we have the talent to to keep this thing going. We've got to get recruits in here. We've got to get the portal started. So it's more so we have so much at stake here. You have to go on to where you're going. Unfortunately,
Bro,
right, wrong, or indifferent.
This is not the University of Alabama. This is not the University of Georgia. This is not the University of LSU, the University of Ohio State. We are not used to this. Therefore, if you got a chance to make a run in the playoffs and your guy, even if he stay or go, if your guy is willing to coach you through it, that's like that's like when Cleveland went and got LeBron. They knew LeBron was about to come in, clean house, get rid of their future, get some stars in there. If they win one championship, it's worth it. That's exactly what it is with Ole Miss. If
Yeah,
you win
but I
3
don't think
playoff games, it's worth it. 2 playoff
I
games
don't
is
think
worth
the
it.
administration is going to look at it that way, unfortunately. But again, that's we'll have a more in depth conversation next week because we'll probably know the ramifications of what actually is and what isn't. So we'll look at that a little more next week. But anything, I'm really interested.
I'm gonna end it with this. If you're a Power 4 school and you're 11-1, and anyone in this world thinks an 11-1 Power 4 school does not get in the playoffs, you are smoking crack, absolute crack. I don't care what Power 4 school it is, you're making the playoffs. If you're 11-1 and your only loss is to a number 3 team or number 4 team in the country, come on now.
Well, BYU,
I'm not buying it.
BYU's in the exact same situation, so it'll be interesting to see how that.
Yeah, but their
out.
only loss is not to number 4 Georgia either.
It's to number 5 Texas Tech. You hear me?
I didn't hear what you said. My thing got choppy.
It's to number 5 Texas Tech.
They got choppy.
Dang. Number 5 Texas Tech.
Yeah, but where are they sitting? In the playoffs, right?
No.
In the playoffs, though, aren't they?
Well, when I was looking at it, they're at
BYU,
11.
Are they
right
not
now.
just like number 8 or something?
No, they're number 11. And
in
a
the
conference
playoffs.
champion. And a conference,
In the
but
playoffs.
a conference champion is going to get in over them because they're not playing in their conference championship either. So very, very real situation.
Yeah,
that
but there's only one conference champion. But
Sorry,
it's only one conference champion. Yeah, it's lagging bad. It's raining like crazy at my house.
Me too. So, well, here let's move on because we'll have once the cards unfold, we'll really have a chance to look at it. But like we were hinting at earlier, rivalry week is coming up. For me, I've really started to look at my fandom just as a sports fanatic this week, this year, really, especially with doing this. And I think about how much we as fans, especially like Graham, you and I, Trip, being Georgia fans, like seeing a team that's won 2 championships back to back, been to 3 in the past 10 years. Very well could have been to more, neither here nor there. And it really made me look like I read this article about a guy who actually moved from Illinois to Athens, talking about how Georgia fans, it was, man, when we get this championship, we take away this 1980 drought. It's going to be paradise. Everything's going to be perfect. And he also talked about how Vince Scully once said, losing feels worse than winning feels good, right? I think that's how most of us feel about things like that. And it made me think, like, why can we not just enjoy our, like, I feel like maybe we were talking about this a little bit before this show. I can't remember before we started recording, but why can't we just enjoy when our team wins? Not have to worry about what it is coming down the road. Just enjoy, that even Georgia played Charlotte last week. Who cares? Glad to see him win. Ole Miss that one weekend, and of course they're ranked, so it makes it look a little different. But smacks it was either Citadel or Tulane, like 42-0. I think it was Citadel. And you know what I mean? Like, why can't we not just enjoy that and have to worry about so many? I know it's moved to so many teams, championship or bust, especially when you're so high. But why can't we not just enjoy our teams winning games? Especially, it's not like basketball season or hockey, baseball, where you've got over 80 games per season. This is less than 20. You know what I mean? Like, why can't we just enjoy that?
Well, as they say, my friend, comparison is the thief of joy. And to be honest with you, I would say the number one thing when I think back on how we spectated and even just talked about sports as kids, and fortunately, all 3 of us have the luxury of knowing each other as children. So we all talked about sports with each other as children. Shit, bro, I remember when Boykins was balling on TCU and me and Logan was talking about this dude. There's just random times during school, like our school years, of us just appreciating sports through all the years and college football specifically, and all that. I do think social media probably plays the biggest factor in why we can't enjoy ball the way that we used to, and it's because we're always comparing our team to teams of the past, prior versions of ourselves or of other teams. And it's because even when you're enjoying your win, every single one of your posts, at least in our case, I can't enjoy a single UGA post without 3 Alabama fans being in there, talking about how we would have lost. And so
Right.
now, instead of me going into the comment section and being able to see people talking about moments that I'm expecting to be full of, like Georgia fans talking about this player making a sack or this freshman coming in and making a play, is people responding to trolls or people preemptively addressing trolls who are going to be there in 5 minutes. Like, wait for the Bama fans to tell us about how we would have, so it's like, that's just what it is. That's the name of the game now, man. I know we'll all have probably a different answer as to why we feel like it is the case, but that's definitely getting my vote.
It's funny you mentioned when you said Boykins, you're talking about TCU, Terrence Boykins, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, TCU. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to bring this up. My only time ever going to the Georgia Dome was the Chick-fil-A Bowl, Ole Miss versus TCU in 2014, and they smoked us, dude. It was like 52 or 49-3, something like that. We kicked a field goal like a minute left to get on the board. So I do remember Boykins. I remember him not too fondly, but I remember him.
I think that might have been while we were talking about it. Yeah.
We had the best defense in the league that year, too. We only allowed like 13 points a game. And then we go play TCU, and they were mad that they were like on the outside looking in of like playoffs, and they smoked us, dude. It was bad.
Yeah, okay, so that's funny you bring that up, Logan, because I think a really good parallel to that is Georgia, Florida State a few years ago. Was Georgia had that same chant, like the same statement to prove, basically, like, hey, we should have been in this thing. Let's go prove it. And me as a Georgia fan, I don't care how many Florida State guys didn't play, no matter what it is. I love that game like it was a SEC or a national championship game. Like my team being in a big game, I don't care what this, or that may not a big game per se, but being in a notable game like that, I want to enjoy it as a fan. I watched every snap of that game. I watched freaking Lad McConkey turn a broken wide receiver pass into a rushing touchdown. I mean, there was so much that was good to watch that game. And I think as fans, like we got to challenge ourselves to stop. Is that the GIF?
That's a meme of Anthony Evans celebrating a touchdown while we're up like 48-0. It was none but third stringers in there, and they doing the jelly roll. Like, come on, bro. Like the whole chat was on 10 that night, Joey. To your point, like we really all were just enjoying football for the fuck of it that night. Like we knew there was nothing else after that, but it was so fun watching everyone ball out, bro.
Yeah, it pissed me off hearing Keon Coleman say, well, if Georgia didn't blow it in the SEC championship, we would have got to play in a blah 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 blah. But now since they choked, like I was like, what a loser. But
spoken exactly like a guy who set out before he would have got that ass pat down, man.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I would have whooped his ass, but I couldn't go to the fade that day. I had tutoring. I really would have socked him out though. Everybody know that.
But I think that's a good thing to remember this week for Rivalry Week. Kind of how I was starting to show off by saying is that this is a week where it's about tradition, it's about hatred, no matter what the circumstances are. Let me tell you something. I'm going to South Carolina and Clemson this weekend. It's in South Carolina. So excited about that. I promise you, that place is going to be what I think the capacity there is 80,000. That place is going to be 80,000 strong of Garnet and Orange hating each other. And that's what this week's about, especially with two teams that are way on the outside looking. They're looking up. They're not even looking in. I saw Logan look up as I said that. That was nice. But I mean, I just want to look up the capacity because I'm curious now. But yeah, I'm so excited about it. But just tell me, like, you guys as huge sports fans and college football fans especially, how do you guys feel about Rivalry Weekend? Like, what kind of gets you excited about it? Things like that.
Exactly what you said. Rivalry Weekend, dude. Like, what more can you get? Like, what more is there to get excited about? Because 9 out of 10 of these games are in-state rivals on top of that, So that's even more like something to get excited about. So for me, it's just, I mean, for Ole Miss and Mississippi State, it's always about like who's running the state, who's controlling the state. You hear the Auburn, Alabama fans kind of say the same thing. I don't know if you guys really say it, Georgia Tech. Don't know if I really heard it from you guys, but it's like it's always fun to have those bragging rights over, especially like when you're living in the state. Like it's a little different for me now that I'm, in Georgia. Like I remember being like back in Mississippi, it's like you go to school, bro. Don't let me catch you in that maroon and white, bro. If we don't win the egg ball, because I'm on your ass, dog. You know what I'm saying? Like you better put a hoodie on over that shirt, bro. Don't be wearing your Dak Prescott jersey in here, dude.
Hey, but that's exactly what it's about, man. For real. Like
Yeah,
honestly, I remember, to Joey, hit on a point just a minute ago that, Georgia has went back to back and played in 3 national championships in the last 10 years. But I remember working a job in my early 20s, because we all damn near 30 now, but I remember working a job, in my early 20s, and a Tech fan walking smooth up to me, bro. I was not having a single conversation with him or anyone around us. I'm minding my damn business at work. A Tech fan catch me off the dribble. And Tech done won a national championship more recently than Georgia. I look down, I peep, I'm wearing a Georgia hoodie. I'm like, yo, that's the only reason you said that to me? He like, yeah, man. Every now and then I just gotta remind y'all. Yo, that's like your eldest, or pardon me, your youngest child coming up to you and sonning you. Like, that's crazy, but he was right, though. He was actually factually correct. And that was what was craziest to me about that moment and that rivalry in general to me. Like, man, I'm like, damn, that's the beauty of a rivalry. Like, no matter what I think of Tech and their program and they fans and all of that, it's those little moments, man. And the fact that anytime you achieve anything, the first person you looking at is your rival. It's damn near not even your homie. Like, it's like, yeah, eat that, hold that. And so, yeah, that really is what it's about. Exactly like Logan hit on, man. It's really about the people within the state that make the rivalries. Of course, the teams go out there and play the games, but George Pickens frontlining that motherfucker into the brick wall in the rivalry game,
Yeah.
man. Like that perfectly embodies how Georgia fans feel about Tech fans. So it's exquisite, man. It's like A1 sport cuisine. It doesn't get finer than this, man. All 5 stars.
I was just looking at this, what the game's coming up too. Actually, I work with a lady who lives in Arizona, and she's a diehard Arizona State fan, lives in Tempe, has season tickets, goes to basketball games. I mean, everything. Um, and she hates Arizona, and I just realized that they were playing. So I love that, man. I love sports fandom so much. Like I love people being insane fans. I love Ohio State fans. Not or is it Ohio State fans? Yeah, they X out when they use M. Like they don't
yeah,
type M. I think that's awesome. No matter how good or bad Michigan. I mean, this was the delirious fan base was saying we got to fire Ryan Day because he can't beat Michigan, and then you win a championship in the same year. Like, to some people, these games mean that much. I know a lot of people don't necessarily consider, at least people our age, like to say like, "Oh, I don't even consider Georgia Tech a rival." Buddy, let me tell you, I do. I think rivalry is not about how much you beat a team or not. It's about the tradition and the hatred that goes behind it. I mean, when my dad was at Georgia, I mean, Tech kind of owned Georgia. I mean, Georgia Tech
I
in
mean,
one
but yeah,
year won
that's what I
4
was gonna
years
say,
in a row.
Joey. I mean, I think we would be kind of irresponsible to act like we just have completely laid belt on Tech our entire lifetime. Now, have we been on the better side of the rivalry the entire time? For sure. But I would say until we got into high school, we really weren't like comfortably into a position where we were like, we know we're gonna beat Tech this time around. All the way up through middle school, that game had me on pins and needles.
Dude, I remember Roddy Jones, old running back from Tech, ran all over them when I was in 7th grade.
Yeah, come on, man.
Upset them. That was when
Yeah.
Matt Stafford was there too.
Yep.
Um,
Yep.
and God was it? I mean, Brent Key, when he played at Tech, went undefeated against Georgia. You know what I mean? Like it's
Jake Fromm didn't even go undefeated against Georgia. Stetson was the first quarterback of this Kirby type era to say he never lost to Tech. And
when
that's
did
just to remind pretentious Georgia fans who don't. Yeah, I think Fromm was a freshman when we took that L to the last time we lost to Tech.
no, that was Jake Eason's. That was Kirby's first year.
You're right. You're right. Okay, so Fromm was the first one of the current run of quarterbacks that didn't lose to
Yeah, they
Tech. But
waxed Tech
everyone else
every year.
had a loss.
We hadn't lost to Tech since that season, 2016.
Right. Right.
And then
Yeah.
last year, I mean, you get one of the greatest games of maybe the best game of the entire year. When Georgia goes into freaking eight overtimes. But I wanted to ask you guys too before we look at some games. I'm gonna try and conjure mine up. Tell me, Logan, it can be or Graham, it could be a Georgia Tech game, or Ole Miss Mississippi State for you, Logan, or just anything. What is your best rivalry week memory if you had to think of one? For me, the thing actually I just thought about it, it jumps off was watching Georgia beat Georgia Tech in 2013. Unfortunately, I was at the aunt with my or at the hospital with my aunt. She was having some kind of treatment. She ended up being perfectly okay, but I was there for a while watching football, and I remember being in her room with TV on, and I watched the kick six, and that was the most absurd thing I've can
Hey,
ever remember. I was like, "Is
greatest
this
call of
real?"
all time.
Yeah, unreal.
Howard's
That
going to
one,
win the football game. Nothing beats that call.
yeah. Oh, with
Yeah.
dude, that who was that? Burn.
Now look,
Go ahead, Graham.
no, my bad. Yeah, it was getting laggy on my end too. I didn't mean to cut anybody off, but
There you go.
you know, they play it at a different time of the year, but I kind of wish Texas and Oklahoma played their game this week, but I get it's not in state, so it really wouldn't work. But they've had some really good memories in my mind when I think back on some big games. But yeah, no, I mean, obviously there's a plethora of matchups that you can choose from when it comes to this game. If I had to stay specific to just us versus Tech,
Or just rivalry week, just this last week of the season. Because I was thinking of
Yeah.
Cam Newton's comeback against Alabama too. They went down 21 or 28-0
yeah,
and came back.
No, I was actually going to bring up Cam's team in this because obviously every time they played Alabama, it was electric. So yeah, that's a good point. I was leaning more towards one of them Iron Bowl games because let's be honest, way more invigorating most times than Georgia versus Georgia Tech. No matter how
Yeah.
we feel about it, it's not even comparing. It's not holding a candle to that Iron Bowl game. Logan, y'all done had some pretty good Egg Bowl games down there now, though. I'm not going.
So
to
when
throw
you
no
said
shade at
rivalry,
y'all.
I'm trying to find this thing. I swear I screenshot it, but now I can't freaking find it because you started talking about attendance. But when you said greatest rivalry game moment, my first thought, I thought you were talking like specifically for like our rivalry game. So I thought you were going to break up a Georgia Tech.
You can if you are.
Well, that's where my mind went, was Ole Miss and Mississippi State. There's two that come to mind. Number one being 2008, we beat Mississippi State 45-0. Nothing will ever beat that, obviously. Shutting them down like that, it's pretty nice. The other one that comes to mind is when Mississippi State was number 4 in the country, 11-1. They're only 10-1. Their only loss was to Alabama. We were, I think this is 2014 or 2015. We were like number 18, 17. We had kind of lost a couple. We probably should have won stuff. Typical Ole Miss stuff, right? We go in there and we beat Mississippi State and keep them out of the playoffs, dude. There was nothing sweeter than that. Dak was rolling. They had the something Robinson. I forget his name. They had a running back, something Robinson. He was a dog. They called him the bowling ball. He was an animal. They had such a good balance of offensive attack. And yeah, there's nothing better than watching Dak miss the playoffs because of us. That was pretty sweet.
And then get punched in the face in Panama City.
I think that was the year before, but yes.
Whichever order.
Slumped in Panama City.
I went to a Georgia Tech game. It was 2014, and Georgia, I think, ended up. Was that the year they went 6-7? I can't remember. No, I think it was 2013.
Don't do that.
But all right, bro.
Go ahead, my fault.
Dude,
I gotta find it.
Super cold Saturday morning. My dad got me tickets to that game. I went with a friend, and Georgia was up. I don't even remember Georgia was up. I remember Damian Swan, who was a corner and played for the Saints for a while. 99-yard pick six or a strip sack. Or not a strip sack. He just kind of like the Auburn game, kind of just strip at the goal line, ran it back for a touchdown, and then goes into overtime. Georgia takes the lead, 17-14, I believe it is. And instead of this is with like 10, 15 seconds left. Instead of kicking it out of the end zone, Georgia kicks a squib kick. Tech gets in field goal range. It hits like a 50-yard field goal. Ties it up. Go into overtime. Hudson Mason throws a pick on a little slant route. Georgia Tech wins. That was a disaster.
You talking about 20? Oh, I'm trying to think what year you was describing. This 2013?
It's 2014.
Shit, I was 1 year off.
Yeah, 2014.
Them was the dog days, boy. Tell you what.
Oh, yeah. That was Hudson Mason and then Grayson Lambert being your quarterbacks. Yeah. Me and Josh, our good buddy Josh May, was talking about that the other night. But yeah, any other things you guys wanted to kind of talk about your rivalry week memories? Anything?
I mean, to be honest with you, as a kid, I really do think about some of those early matchups with Troy Smith versus Chris Hart and those Michigan and Ohio State teams from back then, man.
You mean Mike Hart?
Mike Hart, yeah. And who was that? Who was their quarterback?
Chad Henne.
Chad Henne. There we go. Yeah, I think of some of those matchups, man. Great games, man. Some of them atmospheres that they played in when we were watching them on them old school TVs that we had at that time as kids. I mean, bro, you would have thought it was 1 million people in those stadiums.
It looks like it.
Yeah, it was crazy.
I will say, and 2 games that we're going to talk about here in a second when we pick these games. I think it's undoubtedly, you can argue which one it is, but I guess, is it called the big game? Ohio State?
No, it's just the game.
Okay, the game and the Iron Bowl are undoubtedly the 2 best rivalry sports in the game, or rivalry games in the sport.
No, you know what? I don't know if Texas and Oklahoma have it set to a specific weekend of every year. If not, Red River Rivalry has to be a during rivalry.
It has to be this weekend. That's what I'm saying, bro.
Like, they got to move that game. Unless it's like a tradition that it's like the second weekend of October or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it's been like that. It's always been like that.
If it's not like a specific weekend every year and not a traditional weekend, then, dude, they got to move that to the end of the year, man.
I'm kind of jacked up, man, especially with how long they had to wait to play A&M, and they always hated A&M. So this game always means a lot, and I'm really excited to watch that one on Friday evening. So let's go ahead and look at these games real quick, pick them, and then we can get out of here. Let me share my
screen.
Can't
find the tweet, but you were talking about the South Carolina capacity earlier. You were looking it up or whatever, and it made me think. I thought I had a screenshot. I didn't. So one of the inside reporters, Brad Logan for Ole Miss, was tweeting about this because everyone's talking about Ole Miss is like only has 68,000 was their attendance record and how that was low. He named like some big SEC schools like Baton Rouge, Tuscaloosa. I think Athens might have been in there. I don't remember, but there's some big schools all around, and then some what their population is, and all of them have like a population bigger than the stadium, right? And then you got to Ole Miss, and it was like City of Oxford, population 26,000, stadium capacity 66,000, and we're selling it out. So it's like, I wish I could find the tweet, dude.
Yeah,
but
capacity is capacity. That's not fair. I know a lot of people say that.
Well, like they're just comparing it to like these stadiums like 80,000, but it's like Ole Miss and Oxford has a city population of 26,000 compared to like everywhere. All these other big schools like 100,000 population, 80,000 population, or not capacity, not population. Their population was more than it, though. I wish I could find the tweet and read it off to you because, when I seen it, I was blown away.
Logan, I get what you're saying too, and not to expand on this more than we have to, but just on a side note, I've always had an appreciation for coaches like Lane and anybody who makes the effort to go out and coach in Mississippi, because to the point that you're making, bro, a lot of people really don't understand the differences in packing out a stadium, packing out any type of venue in a state like Mississippi versus doing it in a state that's got a big, big ass metro area, multiple big cities in it. You know what I'm saying? To your point, Mississippi don't got 5 big cities in it like Texas does. It's a reason why they got all these universities that they can build 100,000, capacity stadiums, because shit, they got 5 cities with over, 1 million people in it out there. So I get what you're saying, bro. Like Mississippi, Ole Miss, and Mississippi State, like y'all do go hard for y'all sports teams, and I do think it's not as easy and convenient for y'all to go hard for y'all sports teams as other people. So shouts to y'all, man. Shouts to all the fans in smaller market areas who go hard for their teams, bro. Because I really do got a heart for y'all.
I wish I had the comparison because Dude, the comparison is insane, but I can't find the tweet, and I'm tired of looking for it. I just spent
No,
5 minutes.
it's the same way people really don't understand how crazy it is that like like that Boise State sells the games that they do because like bro, it's really nothing going on out there, bro. Like they're everything out there.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, bro.
All right. Well, let's pick some of these games. So I love the way that Logan, you may feel differently because I know it was kind of y'all's day. I love so many of these games being on Friday personally. Just the Black Friday, you're at least used to. You'd be shopping all morning, you stay up all night shopping, whatever. So to me, it's a nice. Hey, welcome back home. You've had whether it be holiday, traveling, shopping, sit down, relax. Let's watch some ball. And that's how I always feel with this. I mean, it's a Friday, and at 12 o'clock, we're going to be glued to a couch watching football. So stoked about that. Logan, y'all kick it off. Ole Miss at Mississippi State at noon. Ole Miss 7.5-point favorite. Again, there's so many implications that are bigger than this game, right? I know, Logan, you grew up in Mississippi. State fans would love nothing more than to potentially end Lane Kiffin's tenure with Ole Miss on a loss to them. They would love to, but I don't see that happening. This team, like Kiffin said a few weeks ago, we got 2 one-game playoffs, essentially. And this game, you won the last one. Now this one against State, I got the Rebels.
I'll let you go first, Graham.
Nah, Logan, you know how we roll, bro. Go in order, bro. Yeah. You at bat, baby.
Okay, I figured I would end on this one, but that's fine. If we lose a State, it's obviously a disappointment, but to go off of what you're talking about, the Black Friday, I don't mind the Black Friday deal or like the Black Friday game. I don't mind it. What I do mind, this game traditionally, most of my life has been on Thanksgiving night, and that's what I mind about it. I would much rather this game stick to the tradition of being on Thanksgiving night. I much rather that. It's just something nostalgic about it, because I remember growing up, like that was always Thanksgiving. That was a staple. So they got away from it for a couple of years. They brought it back to Thanksgiving night a couple of years once both programs were doing better. And now we're moving to Black Friday. So, I mean, it is what it is. No stress really, but I don't mind the Black Friday, but comparison to what I'm used to of like the staple of the Thanksgiving night, I would rather it be Thanksgiving night, but it is what it is. Yeah, this game, I don't know if you guys know, but when the line opened, we were like, I think 12.5 or 13.5-point favorites, and it has gone down every single day. So that's concerning. I really, 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 really hope that all this drama around Kiffin doesn't really affect this game. And I will say this, whether Kiffin stays or goes, one thing that I do hate is how this is all playing out, because historically this is the best season Ole Miss has ever had, and no one's talking about Ole Miss football as far as the team. Everyone's talking about Kiffin. Even if Kiffin stays, I just hate it the way this is played out. If he leaves, I'm going to hate it even more. But I do wish that it wasn't going down like this, whether he does stay or does leave. It sucks to see that we got a top 10 quarterback in the nation, arguably, and 100% a top 5 running back in the nation. And all anyone's talking about is what is Kiffin doing. So it kind of feels bad for the city, bad for the program, bad for the athletes who's put us here. So, I mean, I hope it all plays out. I hope this doesn't turn into something where we don't show up because everything going on. It's been a long 2 weeks since we've played. So I hope we come out and punch Mississippi State in the mouth over and over and over. I hope we score early and often on this one, because Jeff Lebby, trust me, Jeff Lebby would love to get a win against Ole Miss, being he was our OC for a couple years there. So it's rivalry week. We'll see how it plays out. Hopefully Ole Miss dominates though.
So do you have Ole Miss dominating? What's the prediction?
I have Ole Miss winning. I don't know in what fashion, but I'll take a win.
All right, Graham.
Logan, I had a small message for you after Georgia left Starkville about 2 weeks ago, my friend. I don't know if you remember that message I left you.
That backup quarterback.
Yeah, I remember it.
I left a message for you, my boy. I don't know you for a long time. I would never see a train coming in and not go, hey, man, Hey, look left real quick. There's something running down them tracks. Now look,
Hey,
this
they
is
do
not
call
me.
it the lane train. I'm just saying.
You damn right about that. You damn right about that. But what I will say is this: I'm not gonna get on here and on record say I got Mississippi State knocking off Ole Miss. That I will not be doing. Actually, let me be forefront and say I'm gonna pick Ole Miss to win this game. But let me be completely clear when I say if Kamario Taylor starts this football game, I think it's gonna be all 4 quarters. That's what I will say. If they come out and they start shaping, I think y'all will put them away early because if you play with your food, like Tech play with their food against Pitt, if you play with your food, like Texas play with their food against Florida, if you play with your food in this league, you're gonna get your licks. But that's all I'm gonna say. I just think, and you even hit on some of the points, Logan. Like Mississippi State has all the fuel anyone needs on top of being an in-state rival to ruin y'all season for real. Because I mean, like, if y'all took an L this week on top of all the other BS that's going on, we ain't even gonna. We would need a whole 2 episodes to get into all of that. So I got the Rebels winning as well, but I do stand on my word that Kamario Taylor is a problem. He's gonna be a problem for years to come. And if he starts this game, I think it will be a 4-quarter. Y'all damn near might have a Tech versus Georgia part 2 down in Mississippi State, but we'll get into that next week, or hopefully not. Go Rebels.
All right, so we're all taking the Rebels
Hey,
here.
man, howdy-toddy.
All right, next we got Georgia at Georgia Tech. Well, it's at Mercedes-Benz for the first time this year. Me, I love watching. I would watch a cricket match at Mercedes-Benz. I love that stadium.
Hey, can I mention one thing real quick? I had to look it up because I was wanting to be sure while Graham was talking. So Mississippi State's run defense is at the bottom of the SEC. They're at it says they're allowing an average of 225 rushing yards a game.
Oh my gosh.
This might be a Quan Lacey game. And hey, Kiffin is known to like against Citadel. He let Trinidad Chambliss tune it up. He barely I think Quan Lacey ran like 11 times. And then you go to last week against Florida, 2 weeks ago against Florida, Quan Lacey ran the ball 31 times for the 8th most yards in school history at 224. Quan Lacey. I'm going to circle that one. Their opponents are averaging 5.1 yards a rush. Quan Lacey might have a day, boys.
Yeah, I mean Georgia ran all over them. I mean Nate Fraser had 181.
That's what made me look it up because I was like, y'all were talking about Georgia being in Starksville, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember y'all ran the ball pretty good.
So yeah, so we'll see there. All right, Georgia Tech, Mercedes-Benz. So right across, kind of right down the road from Georgia Tech, but you know it's ultimately dog country overall. But this game is spooky, man. The past 2 years have been really competitive. Because I think the year before it was 31-23, Georgia won. Last year, obviously, the 8 overtime thriller that I don't think anybody predicted. Georgia is down 2 touchdowns in the 4th quarter, ends up winning that game.
45-43, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. So
yep.
Absolute monstrosity. But this year, I just, like we talked about it earlier, Georgia Tech, if you can't play defense, you're not beating Georgia. Simply, you're not, especially if you can't stop the run. Georgia's a 2-touchdown favorite, 13.5. So we're going to call that 14 for the sake of this conversation. I think Georgia rolls this game. Haynes King is kind of Georgia's kryptonite. Always played really well against Georgia. And, you know, I still had the back of my feeling mind, like, God, this can get spooky. But I don't think it happens this year. Give me the dogs, baby.
Yeah, I'm not even about to spend a lot of time on this one because Georgia Tech, man, they just have not looked good for weeks now. And I was on the bandwagon. If you're watching Easton, I'm sorry, dude. I tried so hard, but dude, your boys ain't buzzing no more, man. They're I don't know what's going on over in Tech land, dude, but they're not buzzing. So I think Georgia's. I honestly think a little BTA is about to happen. I think Georgia's about to smack them around and show them who Big Brother is. I really do. So, yeah, got the dogs.
Yeah, I had a message for Logan in my last prediction, and I got a message for the Tech fans, if any of them are listening, which is highly doubtful. But my message is this, man. Last year, our starting quarterback for this game was from Jacksonville, Florida. That's damn near like. I mean, I'm not even gonna get into all that. And my quarterback is from Georgia this year.
Raven County.
My quarterback is from Raven County, man, and it's gonna look like it. That's all I'm gonna say. BTA, like Logan said, on to the next game. And I'm personally bringing the belts out next week. Trust. I might wrap them mugs around my neck like a chain next week. So trust that.
Sounds good to me. All right. So I'll get Georgia in this one. This one can get tricky. Night game. Oh, I'm so excited for this. Look how expensive the ticket. I think it's going to be by far the most expensive game. Number 3, A&M at 16, Texas. Texas, like we're talking about, Arch had a really good game last week. Kind of seeing maybe they're finding that momentum. But Texas A&M, rolling on. They got an elite offense, elite defense. It's going to be tough to beat them no matter what. However, I think the Texas Longhorns are going to once help Georgia get a win and clinch them in the SEC championship. I got Texas pulling the upset off. A&M's a 3.5-point favorite on the road, and I think Texas A&M is good enough to kind of wipe out home field advantage. But yeah, give me the horns on this one. Shout out KD.
Yeah, I'm gonna go against you here. I think A&M had their scare for the year. I got A&M beating Texas. Hear me out though. A&M doesn't win another game the rest of the year.
So you think if
they lose the SEC
win
championship and lose in the playoffs? That's
that.
my prediction here.
I love that. I love that because they've played the 7 worst teams in the SEC for their stretch this year. So, yeah, I just think that Texas is too good of a ball club to roll up on this year. In a week that's so pivotal for both teams, and you just had the blunder that you had against South Carolina. Yeah, I know I'm kind of stealing Joey's pick here, but yeah, I got to roll with the Longhorns as well. I do think that if we're just talking about pure form, if you look at the 3 teams last 3 weeks, Texas did have a bad performance against Georgia, but the magnitude of opponent that they faced in that loss is twice as much as you've basically faced all year outside of the Notre Dame game. So, you know, I really do. That's the basis of my pick, man. I just think that they really haven't had enough burn against the top dogs, and it's a 4-quarter game when you're playing against somebody that's equal to or better than you in a lot of departments. And this Texas defense is going to have an answer for a lot of the questions that Marcel Reed and them can present.
All right, so we got me and Graham, Texas, Logan A&M. All right, so we're going to move on to one we referenced earlier, the big game. Number 1, Ohio State at number 15, Michigan. This is the first ranked team Ohio State's played in like 5 weeks. On the road, they're they're a 9.5-point favorite. So basically 2-possession favorite. I just don't see that train that they're on slowing down, man. I don't. A true freshman quarterback versus Matt Patricia just sounds like an absolute nightmare. I don't know if we mentioned on the show last week, but Ohio State's got like 5 guys who are predicted to go in the first round next year. And a lot of them are on defense. So I expect them to have another masterful showing. And I think this is the best team in the sport, right, wrong, or indifferent. But, you know, this game does get a little spooky, as we've seen, as Ohio State hadn't beat them in 4 or 5 years, as long as Ryan Day's been there. So I'm going to Ohio State on this one.
I would love nothing more than for Michigan to knock off Ohio State again and just be Ryan Day's kryptonite, be the thorn in his side. I just think this year Ohio State finally gets back on track and beats Michigan, but I would love nothing more than Michigan to knock them off. It'd be 5 straight, right? They're at 4 straight right now.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that would be.
No, it would be 6. It would be 6 straight. Yeah.
And honestly, Michigan's kind of had like a very underrated, pretty solid season. Like when you really look at it, like they haven't had a bad year. So, I mean, Michigan, they're kind of better than you really think. They've just been overshadowed a lot in that conference, but I could see this one turning out to be a pretty solid game. So I do think I'm going to try my best to tune in on this one on Saturday. Maybe we can get something together, guys, off stream. Maybe we can try to figure something out. Try to watch some games. We've been saying it all year. It's rivalry week. Why not?
I'll be in South Carolina, buddy.
Joey sucks.
Oh, yeah,
However, if you guys want, maybe like we can meet like somewhere in like in Kennesaw or something, because I'll be back. Should be back in time for like the Bama game. So either way, we'll figure something out. So did we Graham, did you do your pick? Did we all pick Ohio State? Did I miss?
Graham didn't pick it.
Okay, go ahead, Graham.
I thought Logan picked Michigan for the upset.
No. I said Ohio State, but I would love nothing more than for Michigan to get a 5-peat.
Yeah, me and you both, brother. Me and you both. I would love nothing more than to see, the cards on the Big Ten table get shuffled on the last week of the season like that. But I also got Ohio State winning this game, and it's only because I don't think Michigan, kind of like the same song that they've been singing as a team since they won their natty. This offense just isn't enough. I don't think it's enough to push them past a team that's this good. It's really just going to come down to whether or not, Bryce Underwood is going to be able to honestly, quite literally have the best game of his young career or not. That's really the only way that they're going to be able to win this game. They don't have a Donovan Edwards or a Blake Corum in the backfield like they had in years past either. So this one is going to definitely be one of them games where Matt Patricia is probably licking his chops right now. He might be really looking forward to putting, Buddy in a blender, especially as a true freshman. So obviously, we wish all the freshmen the best. It takes a lot to start as a freshman in this sport, but I got the Buckeyes rolling as well.
All right. So we're all taking Ohio State there. All right, Clemson to South Carolina, a game, again, that I'm going to be at. I'm super stoked about. South Carolina is a 2.5-point favorite, so basically favored by a field goal. Clemson, let me double check this. So Clemson right now. Okay, so Clemson has clinched a bowl game. So they're going bowling. So they're not going to have to compete for that. This South Carolina team, again, like I was telling you at the beginning, Shane Beamer, I get why people like him. I understand why players buy into him. And I think he's really got that team realizing, hey, guys, look how, X, Y, and Z we were in this game. When you guys are rolling, obviously, when we play complimentary football, we have a result like last week. Granted, it's not Clemson, but still. And there's going to be a lot of people on that. I think because I wonder in my head, how many are you playing this game not only to beat your rival, but are you playing this game to save Dylan Stewart on your roster, Lenora Sellers on your roster? That's something that I wonder about. And I think South Carolina's fired up. I think they're gonna win this game.
I think Clemson's gonna win this game. I think Sellers might be gone after this year, and I think Beamer might be going after the next. It seems like I don't know. This just seems like the year dominoes are falling. But with that being said, Lenore could go off there for 400, and maybe that means dominoes are falling in Clemson. I think both of these teams have a lot to lose in this game, whether it be losing Sellers or maybe talks getting real loud and Clemson's 6-6 and Dabo's out the door. But I do think Clemson's the better football team this year, and I got Clemson winning this one.
Yeah, I might have to agree with Logan with this pick as well. I got Clemson coming out with a dub, and it's simply because I feel like Clemson is really just on both sides of the ball a little bit more of a talented roster than South Carolina. I don't even want to delve deep into like where I want to swing or where I rest in terms of like who I trust more in this coaching matchup, because I don't trust either of them. I don't trust either of these guys right now. So give me Clemson, but I think it'll be a nail biter.
Well, for the sake of me writing my article, that you're not right. But okay, so 2v1, Clemson versus South Carolina. Okay, I put this game on here. The LSU and OU game, but I didn't even think about the fact that Nuss is out. I'm just not even going to dive into that one. So let's move on to Vandy at Tennessee.
Hmm.
I remember last year this one was kind of like Vandy kind of came out firing early. Um, Tennessee ended up running away with it. I don't know if it's going to go in that exact order this year, but I think there's just a difference between Vandy and Tennessee where they are as football teams. I think that was figured out last year. I think you're about to see it again. Tennessee's a 3.5 point favorite. I think they might win by 2 possessions at least.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. You'd have asked me who's winning this game last week. I would have said Tennessee. That boy Diego Pavia had Kentucky looking real bad, and I know it's Kentucky, but I don't know. Maybe I got a little bit more bias for Kentucky because they always give us troubles. But after watching Vandy last week, dude, I can't pick against them. I got to go Vandy here. I think it's going to be a good game. I don't see it being a 2-score game either way, personally. I mean, what is it, a 3:30 start? So
Yeah.
it's not like you're really at Neyland at night. I mean, I do think Neyland's still going to be loud, but Neyland at night can be a pretty packed place. So I don't know. I think Vandy, after watching last week, dude, it's hard to go against the old Commodores as they're still trying to put their hat in the playoff hopes. So I got Vandy winning this one.
No, man. I think that, like I said last week, man, I think that Heupel, he's kind of in between a rock and a hard place in a lot of scenarios because I think he's hit his ceiling with this team in a lot of areas, and Tennessee fans struggle to come to reality or terms with that a lot, which is why I bump heads with a lot of my Tennessee friends. It's not even to do with the rivalry. It's with the fact that I feel like they kind of are deluded with certain things, but y'all are not deluded in believing that y'all are too good of a team to lose to Vanderbilt. Still, I don't care how good Vanderbilt has gotten. Diego Pavia definitely has been balling this year, but I think that this Tennessee defense is way more sneakily good and dangerous than people give them credit for as well. Like that's honestly the biggest improvement I think that Heupel has made to this program on the low, underneath the radar. Like how much more he's improved them defensively, and I think like Joey hit on some of the differences in the levels of recruiting that they're doing on that side of the ball is what's gonna. I see them winning by 10 or more, honestly. That's my pick.
All right. So I think we're all rolling Tennessee here. Did I get that? No,
I
no,
said
you
Vandy.
because you
Oh
said
no, we
Diego
pick
Pavia.
Vandy. Let me pick Vandy.
That's right. My bad. I just that bad memory, I guess. Yeah, this one's gonna be a stinker too. We might have a stink fest in Florida and Florida State, and I mean that's obviously pretty disparaging. But Florida State announced that they're keeping. They will be holding on to Jay Norvell or Mike Norvell, which kind of AKA means, hey, we can't afford to buy you out, so you got a job. Um, Florida's 1.5 point favorite. God, yeah, I'm not even touching that one. But one of the other big games we talked about. Wait, okay, never mind.
Look at the state of Florida football. Florida State versus Florida, the only only game on the schedule coming on at 4:30, and it's
That
on
is pretty
ESPN
crazy.
too.
Yeah,
Yo,
two
fire
teams that are in,
everybody, man. Fire
two
everybody.
teams that are in Eastern time.
What? Yo, fire
Um,
Ron DeSantis too while you at it. Everybody got to leave work right now, man. Dead ass. Everybody go home.
Okay, Iron Bowl, number 10, Alabama at Auburn. Alabama 6.5 point favorite. All right, let me get my tinfoil hat on. Listen, we've been talking about Alabama's inability to run the ball. They're playing a very good defense up until a couple weeks ago, whereas one of 3 teams who hadn't allowed teams to score 24. This Alabama team really cannot run the ball. One of the worst teams in the country, like one of the 10 worst teams in terms of yards per game. Auburn has got some elite guys on defense. Lots of scary stuff happens to Jordan Hare, like one that we talked about earlier at the kick six. This is a night game. Auburn, coach is gone. You know, they got to we're figuring what's going on at quarterback, and they can knock their most hated rival out of the playoffs. I think it's about to happen. I've got Auburn pulling off the upset.
I do not. Jordan Hare is there's a vibe in that stadium, of course.
That's the
I
most
actually
underrated home field advantage, in my opinion.
hey, I've been to Jordan Hare, and I've said it once, and I'll say it again. If anything happens to the University of Mississippi, I think I'm a Tigers fan because Jordan Hare, that
That
is
place is beautiful.
one hell of an experience, dude. I had such a fun time. Ole Miss lost to a Bo Nix led Auburn team, and we were on bowl bands. This is Matt Luke days, dude. We were in the trenches, and I'm not gonna lie, dude. Super fun game, and we lost, but Jordan Hare was a hell of a time. So, yeah, Jordan Hare's definitely got something about it. There's some aura there. It's weird. I actually seen a post. So there's like a red smoke over the Jordan Hare Stadium in this picture that was posted, and someone commented and was like, they're doing some kind of what it said, crimson elephant ritual or something like that. It was something funny like that, and it just cracked me up because Jordan Hare always has some wild things happening. But I do think Alabama comes in and takes care of business. I just think there's too much going on with the Auburn program right now. I'm surprised they fired Hugh Freeze. Yes, he deserved it, but I thought they'd be in like a Florida State situation where it's like, do we really want to buy out somebody whenever we're going to be like the fifth best school available for a coaching job? And they still did it. So SEC maybe is a little different. Mike Norvell at least did have a 12-win season, so maybe that keeps him there a little bit longer. But yeah, I just think Auburn's got too many question marks, head coach being one of them. So Jackson Arnold, he's not going to throw a pick, but he's going to go 15 of 17 with 112 yards because that's just what it's just that. That's just the kind of stat lines he has,
Yeah.
We keep talking about he doesn't throw picks, but he's not very efficient either. So what's it really matter? Ty Simpson and the boys, I think
Ashley Daniels is actually getting the start, y'all.
Yeah,
really?
that's what I was saying there. I think they were trying a new quarterback out.
Yeah, they're starting Ashley Daniels. You already know Deuce Knight's gonna get plenty of packages thrown his way. So, not to cut y'all off, but
no, you're good. Well, that makes me think Bama even more, to be honest. New quarterback against Bama is scary.
Yeah. The only reason why I'm actually gonna pick Bama in this game is because I already picked Texas to knock off A&M. So Georgia only gets to play in the SEC title game when we play Bama. So inevitably Bama has to win. So don't give me the tie because I never won them, but I'll take the tie to get the dub. They'll take care of business.
No, we beat LSU and Texas last year.
That is true. You right about that. It did feel like for a minute though, like every time we played in a big SEC game, it had to be against Bama.
Oh, trust me, yeah. They've had their fair share. I mean, there's been 3 of them that Georgia's been. Actually, that last one they weren't leading. They got dominated pretty soundly.
No, but when we beat LSU 50-30, the score really felt like 70-20. Like people, the score wasn't indicative to how bad we beat them. Yeah.
So, well, yeah, I guess it's gonna do it, guys. I wonder actually before we go, I just want to throw this tidbit. Do you guys think we're gonna see any flag planting? Dabo said there will be no flag planting if Clemson were to win at South Carolina, and that was a huge thing last year. Was the flag planting? I thought it was awesome. Are we expecting that same madness to happen this year?
Give me Michigan.
Yeah, I was about to say, I hope I see a Wolverine player double fisting flags.
Well, that's at Michigan, though.
Man, so why not, bro? Yeah.
Oh, it's at Michigan?
Yeah.
Give me Michigan. They're going to do it on their own logo.
All right. Well, we'll see.
I feel like that would – honestly, though, that feels like the game that would do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you right now, this Iron Bowl, it's got that air to it.
I'm telling you.
It's got that spooky. Air to it.
It's like this is the Halloween week of college football. This week right here is spooky.
Honestly, you know who I could really see pulling off the flag plant? Diego Pavia.
That's actually prime suspect number 1.
Yes, dude. That whole family's always in the mix of something, it seems, on the sideline too. So Pavia kind of seems like feels like he could be a little disrespectful in there.
Yeah.
So keep an eye on that guy and keep flags away from him.
Well, All right, guys. Again, appreciate everybody tuning in. A lot of football to watch this week in the NFL too. I mean, this is one of the best weeks of the year for football. So everybody get on the couch, get you your food, whatever you do, and go enjoy some football. So if that ain't it, guys, we can go ahead and get out of here. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.